This one has just kind of become like a puddle of goop. It's already got a hole burned in it. Oh, okay. So this thing is kind of crispy, and it's just made a lot of smoke. I can see the smoke rolling outside. Let's go. Alright guys, so today we're going to be doing another heater safety video. So in the last one, I took a propane heater and a kerosene heater and I put 100% cotton materials in front of them to see how easily they could start a fire. In that video, you guys had a couple criticisms. You wanted me to test a wide range of materials, not just cotton, and you also wanted me to add an electric heater to kind of get a range of all the heaters, and I completely agree with both of those. So we're going to basically redo that video with an electric representative and the propane and kerosene. I have a whole range of materials. We're also gonna do a couple, like a tip test, see what happens whenever you like put these things face down, see what happens. And then at the end, we might, you know, maybe spill a little bit of gasoline or something in some of the heaters and see what happens. So it should be a fun time. So with that being said, let's move this heater. I want to bring your attention to this heater. This space heater is made by Drio, who just happens to be the sponsor of today's video. Drio saw the last video that I did with the space heaters, and they felt that their space heater was safe, so they decided to sponsor this video, send me one, and they wanted their heater to be part of the test. So we're gonna run it through all the tests and we'll see how it holds up. If at any point during the video you are interested in buying one of these heaters, I will have the link for this in the description. As well as Drio doesn't just make space heaters, they make an entire range of products. They make air purifiers, air fryers, a couple other different things. So if you want to check out their website, I will also have that link in the description. So, let's get started. So for the first tip test, I have, this is actually a shirt that I used from the original video, I think. It's kind of just all like tattered up. This is 100% cotton. That's what we'll use for this first test. It should be the only material we need because most of these should be good. So, we'll turn on our electric space heater and we'll give it a second to heat up fully. Alright, I believe it's up to full temperature. So we're just going to knock it over. You can see that it is going to shut itself off. I'll leave it there until it's done. I believe the fan keeps going to like blow all the heat out. Okay, there we go. Now it shuts off. As you can tell, of course, nothing happened. It wasn't down long enough for anything to be burned. It is a little bit warm. I'm going to turn this back on and do that again. I want to see what the temperature is of this material after it gets done. Got the temperature gun. It is currently, this says 89, but that feels like, yeah, I guess it's 89. All right. I believe the fan runs for 30 seconds to blow the rest of the heat out of the heating coil, because it does the same thing whenever you turn it off. It takes 30 seconds to blow all the heat out. Alright. 150 degrees is what it was. Which, that doesn't feel that hot at all. Before, if I wouldn't have just checked the temperature and it said 150, I would have guessed that it was like maybe 80 or something. Like it was just barely warm. So that's kind of surprising. But obviously, as you can see, nothing is burnt or anything. It's not gonna, obviously not gonna start a fire. So something I do want to try is, it has an electric sense, like an electric tip. It has an electric tip sensor. So whenever it gets tipped over, it will shut itself off like you saw. I want to see if maybe you can kind of trick it, because I had a space heater like years ago that had some type of sensor, like some type of tip sensor, and it would only activate if it was like knocked over like abruptly. With that heater, if I would like gently, just very carefully tip it over, you could tip it over and it could be putting like full heat into like carpet or something. So I want to see if that's the case with this one. So it's supposed to deactivate at 45 degrees. I'm just going to go real slow, see if maybe we can trick it. Nope. It already activated. Will it kick the heat back on? No, as soon as it activates, it starts the 30-second countdown, And the heating coil is off. It's just the fan. Yeah, okay. So you can just turn it back on. That other heater I had also, you could tip it backwards all you wanted and it would never go off. It was like it would only activate if it was tipped forwards. So let's see what happens if you tip it backwards. No. It kicked. I guess this heater is very safe from tip over. What if we turn it upside down? I don't know why I thought that would work. Okay, so that sensor is very good, and you are it's not gonna keep running while it's tipped over. So that is very nice to know. So next up, let's go with the propane heater. This thing also has a tip over sensor, but I guess we'll see how well it works. We'll sit here and we'll wait until these coils get red hot. All right, we should be up to full temperature. Now, the shirt, it says it's 112 degrees. I imagine that's because the heat radiating from this, we'll call it 110, and we'll see what happens. It shut off. Now, I'm gonna let it sit there for a minute. Just let some of that heat soak in, see if anything happens. Oh, I can see that the shirt's about 260 degrees or so. I don't think that's enough to start a fire. Ooh, that's way hotter. But still, I mean, you can see no burns, not even brown marks, nothing. That's what we want. Even though I would like to see some fire, it is nice to know that the heater's safe. I do want to try the same thing with this one that I did with the electric. Seeing if we can maybe like trick the sensor by going like real slow or something. See if maybe we can still tip it over. I don't think we're going to be able to. Still hasn't kicked. Oh, right there it kicks. Physical switch in there. It's not electric, which makes sense. There's no electricity going to this thing. See if we can go backwards. No, kick's going backwards too. Yeah, you can hear it kick at all angles. There's something physical that like moves around and kicks it off. Whatever it is, it works. So that's good. So let's move on to the kerosene heater. All right, so we have our kerosene heater that you guys saw in the last video. We're obviously outside because this thing has like 2 gallons of kerosene in it, and I don't know what's going to happen when I tip it over. So I'm obviously not going to do that in the garage. So let's see. Nothing. I think it just went out. Alright, so I'm not entirely sure what happened. The automatic, or the emergency shutoff seemed to have activated. I wasn't aware that when it tips over that would activate. I thought that was something that you had to actually push to activate. It could have just been a fluke thing, so I reset everything and we're gonna do it again. No, it's not a fluke thing. I'll let that sit there for a minute, see what happens. Okay, so this does have a tip over protection. And something I am surprised about is that there's no kerosene spilled out. Whenever I brought it back into the garage to reset it, I couldn't find any trace of kerosene. So that's really good. All right, let's go inside and I will show you what I believe is happening. All right, so after that test, I'm actually very impressed with this thing. I thought, since this right here, I thought it said emergency shutoff. It just says manual shutoff. And as far as I know, this was the only way that you can turn the unit off. I didn't realize that it had like some type of tip sensor, but I guess it does. And it turns out it's actually very sensitive. You don't have to like flip it all the way over for it to activate. And I'm also, I mean, there's no kerosene that's spilled out anywhere. The fuel cap is even on this side, the side that I was tipping it on. Nothing spilled out of there. It's all perfectly clean. Now I'm going to show you how sensitive this tip sensor is. Just that little bit kicks it. That's impressive. I like to see that. I didn't know that was in there. So that's very good. So this thing, and obviously you guys saw outside. What I imagined happening is that you would flip it over and then all of the kerosene would come up through the wick and leak into this like barrel, and then you just have like an uncontrolled fire inside of the barrel. So I'm happy to see that that is not what happens, even though I would be lying if I said that I didn't want to see that, because it would be cool. For safety reasons, That's very good. So I'm very impressed. All right, now it's time for our fire test. So we're just gonna start off just like we did in the first video. We have 100% cotton in front of all the heaters. Whenever I start the timer, I'm gonna lay this on top of this one since this is where the most heat is. So 3, 2, 1. All right, so we'll see what happens. I think this one is gonna be the first one. Whatever's gonna happen, I think it's gonna happen over here first. You can see that the propane's already starting to burn. You can see some lines here. That is quick. I can smell it too, and I can see the smoke. 600 degrees here, 250 degrees over there, 382 right here. Wow, we just hit a little bit over 3 minutes. This one is starting to burn real bad. Let's see what the temperature is. 636 over here, 284, about the same. 391 over here. This one, the propane is, I think it's going to be a clear winner, if you want to call it a winner. Let's see where we're at. This is smoking like really bad. That says 690, but it spiked up to 700. This is going down in temperature. This just shut down. It does have an like a sensor that'll shut it down if it overheats. It had the thermostat, it locks itself at the highest it goes is 95, so it must have reached 95. Okay, so the electric heater's out. Propane's still going. So far, this electric heater, I think it's going to be our least likely to start a fire. Propane looks like it's going to be the most likely to start a fire if this trend continues. So with the electric heater, you can see that it literally, like, nothing happened. It's not even browned, burnt, nothing. As soon as it got hot enough, it shut itself down. So I would assume that it's going to continue to do that, which is good. That means it's extremely safe, and the chances of it starting a fire are extremely low. You can literally just see straight through there. Not even 10 minutes in, only 7 minutes in. All right, so we are hitting on the 30-minute mark. I think we're gonna go ahead and call it. I don't think this is gonna burn anymore because I think it's burned through enough in the front that the heat is able to just get out and it's not gonna really burn anymore. This, it doesn't really look like a lot has happened. Like it's kind of gotten a little bit yellowed, maybe a little bit brown. I guess as far as cotton is concerned, if you're gonna start a fire, a propane heater would be the way to go. I just realized I think this handle is melting. This handle, it's getting so hot it's like melting itself. All right, so according to the comment section of the last video, this is where things should get interesting. We have, our material is 50% cotton, 50% polyester. A lot of the people in the comments said that if I used something that had polyester in it, that it would catch on fire, no problem. So, we'll see. I'll go ahead and start the timer. Go. So I'm gonna start that. Start the propane, put that there. I'm expecting stuff to happen pretty fast. I already noticed a weirder smell. Oh, this has already got something happening here. Nothing happening here. I can already tell that this is like trying to, oh, maybe not. It looks like it was trying to melt. Sitting at 357 degrees here, 592 here, 287. Looks about the same as the cotton. Oh, I think I just heard, I think the electric one already kicked. The electric one's already turning itself off. So there's no chance of fire with that. This one's smoking pretty good. Alright, so the electric heater kicked itself off. You can see on the backside, not a single thing changed. The material looks exactly like it did whenever I put it on there. That is very, very good news for the electric heater. For this, I don't know what's happening here. This looks like it's going to do the exact same thing that that the cotton did. It's just going to like smolder through and then not really do much. So we are currently about 15 minutes in. This literally looks like nothing is happening at all. I don't even see any like brown marks or anything. Just like it was whenever I cut it off of the shirt. This looks exactly like the cotton did. I don't think much more is going to happen. We'll let it go to about 30 minutes. We'll see what happens. Alright, it's been a little bit over 25 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and call it. I don't think there's any reason to keep this going. Literally nothing is happening. This piece still looks like, in certain light, I can kind of see maybe it might be turning a little bit brown. I don't think there's anything happening to it. And if it is, it's very, very slight. And this, basically the same thing as the cotton. It just kind of burned out the middle. and then the heat just kind of goes right through. Not as eventful as I thought it was going to be. Next, we are going to do 100% polyester, and we'll see how that holds up. Let's try 100% polyester. Maybe this will burst into flames or do whatever everybody said it was going to do, but I have very low expectations. Oh, the polyester. It's already got a hole burned in it, but it's not like in flames. There's just a hole burned in it. Oh, these things are going to fall. I guess I will hold these here until whatever happens happens. Look at that. It's literally just melting away. 350 degrees over here. Usually this is only like 280. We're at 350. Some of that could be like leak over from the propane, honestly. The propane is literally just gonna, it's like a straight shot all the way through. 730, 403 over here. I would say that this is probably just about done. It's, you know, it's burned or it's melted its way in the middle, and that's probably gonna allow enough heat to escape that it probably won't do anything else. I just heard the thermostat kick on the electric heater, so it should be shutting off any second now. Basically, you're right on time, about 5 minutes in like it always does. Literally nothing. Absolutely nothing was done to the material. It still feels exactly like it did whenever I cut it off and put it on these boards. It's still very strong. All right, it's been 25 minutes. Nothing's happening. This thing melted out within the first, still kind of stretchy. This one melted out within the first, what, like 2-3 minutes, and like nothing else happened since then. You can see where this polyester, where it's synthetic material, it's very, very plasticky. Although it doesn't catch on fire, it does melt. This, it's very, very, very hot. Very, very hot. But nothing happened to it though. It's not, still feels the same. The edge kind of melted a little bit. I mean, not much happened, but the edge melted, so. Let's move on. All right, our next material is something that sounds kind of exotic. It's a bed sheet, but it is made out of bamboo and rayon. I have no idea what rayon is, but it sounds exotic, and maybe it'll catch on fire. Start the timer, and go. Start you up. Start that up. There we go. Oh wow. I've already got holes melted. Nothing's happening over here. Looks like we got a little bit of melting right here already. That looks promising. I'm gonna go ahead and predict that probably the same thing that's happened with every single material is probably what's gonna happen. It's gonna melt through the front of it. Then that will allow enough heat to escape that it won't do anything else. This one actually acts like it might do something this time. Maybe it might melt the edges or something. Guess we'll see. So we're almost 10 minutes in, and this heater has not kicked off yet, and typically it would have by now. So I'm going to assume that maybe this sheet is like thin enough that like it lets enough heat out that it's not getting the heater hot enough for it to shut itself down or something. It's the only thing I can figure, really. 282, which is about what we've seen. This is just melted all the way through. This is starting to melt on some of the corners. Ooh, it's actually starting to drip down. It's actually melted in several places. I guess we'll just see what happens. All right, so it has been over 30 minutes. The electric heater has been running the entire time, so I'm assuming that my theory was correct, that maybe the sheet is thin enough that it lets enough heat through that it won't reach whatever temperature it needs to shut itself down. So we'll go ahead and turn that off. The propane heater, I probably should not have got that so close. Melted. Basically the same thing that happened to basically every single material was what happened to that one. The middle of it melted, and then that was it. Still no flames, still no fire. This, let's see what's going on here. Not much at all. So some of the edges, like here, are burnt. All the edges seem to be kind of crispy. I have a couple more things that I think possibly could start a fire, but I don't know. Memory foam is affected by the heaters. I don't even know if memory foam is flammable or what material exactly it's made out of, but I guess we'll see. Let's turn that on. Just in case it's like, I don't know, super flammable or something, I'm gonna let these things kind of heat up and then we'll put them in front of them. Alright, so these seem to be very hot. Start the timer and go. Alright, so put that right there. Oh, cooperate with me here. That'll work. Put that there. Oh, I think it is gonna melt. It's already burning here. Nothing happening here. Oh wow, lots of smoke. Smoke rolling off of it here. Jeez, crazy amounts of smoke. This is turning brown a little bit, but nothing crazy. This is like, I mean, this is this is literally already melting away. All right, we are about 5 minutes in. I just heard this, the electric heater, the thermostat kick. After 5 minutes, our memory foam is starting to look a lot like this. No flames or anything yet. So I guess we'll just kind of leave it there to do its thing. Okay. We're starting to get a little something over here. The memory foam is way more reactive than the electric heater. Literally nothing. Not even starting to burn or anything. This propane heater, it's literally just going to, oh, I think here it goes. I think it's gonna just like fall over any time now. All the melted goop is starting to fall off. It is so crazy this has not caught on fire yet. Not a single flame. Yeah, you can see. Oh wow. Never mind. I'm just gonna leave that alone. This one, I have no idea what it's like. I don't think it's gonna do anything really. I think it's just gonna kind of like bake. All right, it's been about 9 minutes. It's getting really smoky in here, so I'm gonna leave. If anything catches on fire, you guys will be the first ones to know. I feel confident that everything's gonna be all right. I'll be back in like 20 minutes. Oh, jeez. Well, okay, no fire there. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. So this thing is kind of crispy, and it's just made a lot of smoke. I can see the smoke rolling outside. So I'm going to turn these cameras off and air this place out. All right, so we have tried a bunch of different fabrics. Now let's try something a little bit more like dense, something that can really, hold in the heat and maybe like give us a chance of catching on fire. So we're going to use these pillows. It has a cotton case. It has a cotton case on the outside. And then it has, let me open it up and show you what's on the inside. It has another case that I am going to assume is cotton, and then inside of that, it has these, which are labeled as like memory foam cooling gel, or I think maybe it's just labeled as a gel-filled pillow or something. They're kind of just feel like chunks of memory foam, so I don't really know exactly where they're getting the cooling gel name from. So maybe these will do something. So I only have 2 of these pillows. So we're going to do the electric space heater first, and then we will do the propane and the kerosene at the same time. So we'll start off with the electric. I highly doubt anything's going to happen. I think the heater's going to work as it's been designed, like it has every single other time. I think it's going to run for a little bit, get hot, and then shut itself off like it should. So we'll start it up. All right, our timer's going to be a little bit behind, but we'll see what happens. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and call this here. It's been right about 25 minutes. And it's warm. It's 200 degrees. But other than that, nothing has happened. It's actually like really warm. Like it actually feels really good. It feels like it came out of like maybe like a dryer or something, but that's really it. There's obviously, you see there's like no browning or like anything resembling that there could be a fire or anything. We're gonna move on to the propane and the kerosene. I think this is gonna get extremely smoky. Let's go ahead, start the timer, put that on high, put that right there. I think this is gonna get really, really bad. Well, I can already kind of see it's starting to get a little brown under there. Oh, it's already starting to burn through. It burned through the outer case and the inner case. You can see the blue gel memory foam type stuff in there. Wow. Actually, the same thing's not happening over there, so that's interesting. This is gonna be another smoky garage. I don't think anything's gonna happen, honestly. I thought maybe we could get a fire. What's gonna happen is it's gonna just slowly start to melt away, and as it melts, it's gonna pull itself away from the heat. So it's just gonna be like slowly, you know, less and less affected. But it's not gonna stop it from smoking. It's gonna, I guarantee it's gonna fill up this entire garage. Well, there is a tiny hole opening up in the center of this one. I wonder if all that stuffing is gonna like open up and then like fall out on top, or what's gonna happen. Oh, it's gonna start dripping. Yeah, it's just gonna drip on the top of the heater. This thing, I don't think this thing's gonna catch on fire. I think this is just gonna like smoke and melt into a big mess. So, since this garage is filling up with smoke, just like last time, I'm gonna leave. I will come back in about 20 minutes and we'll see what happens. So if there's a fire, you guys will be the first one to know. If there is a fire, put it out. Alright. It's been about 20 minutes. It's very smoky in here. Nothing is happening here. Seems like this pillow is just kind of turning into a puddle of goop. And this one is just melting down and falling onto the top of my heater, which is going to be great to clean up. But so far, no fire. Alright, so as you can see, very smoky. We're going to turn this heater off. We'll put this down here. This one is making quite a bit of smoke. There's absolutely no fire as far as I can tell. This stuff is just kind of melting, and everything's just melting. There's really no fire. This one has just kind of become like a puddle of goop. I'm gonna let these cool down and let the garage air out, and actually I'm gonna let this sit overnight, and we'll just let all this air out, and we'll check all this out tomorrow. So I can let all this air out. So now that the smoke is cleared and I've kind of cleaned off the top of this thing and got all the goop off of it, let's take a look at these pillows. Both of them, I mean, pretty much both of them had the same kind of effect. This one that was in front of the propane heater obviously did a lot more, ew, it's like sticky. Did a lot more like damage and melted a lot more. Still no flames from either one. It just kind of melted it all down, and all this synthetic material just kind of like melted down into this like really like stringy like goop that maybe eventually could have started a fire, but definitely didn't within the time frame that we tested. And oddly enough, I know this is gonna sound crazy, but this, like, the burnt part of this pillow, both of these pillows actually, for some reason it has like a really, really nice, like, clean, soapy smell. Like I only smell it on the burnt part. Like, the rest of it doesn't smell like that. It's so strange. It's almost like burning it like opened it up, like opened up the smell or something. As your pillow is melting down, it'll at least smell nice. You know, the same thing, it just kind of melted down and all the synthetic material just kind of turned into goop. Got real nice and crispy right here around the edges. Yeah, other than that, nothing crazy, no fires. I was really hoping for a fire. Since we have not actually got flames, we are going to fix that, and we are going to go outside and we are going to pour gasoline on all of the heaters, and we will see what happens. All right, we've got a couple ounces of gasoline. Our electric heater's been running, and it's warmed up. See what happens. This is not what I expected. I don't know what to do. Okay, let's try again. It's still blowing out hot air. So, let's go again. No way. Still blowing out hot air. Okay, so I guess you can literally dump gas straight into this space heater and it won't even catch on fire. Alright, I think we know where this is going to go. So let's just get it over with. Oh. My number one priority was making sure that propane tank did not explode. Well, some fireman I am, the fire literally put itself out before I even had a chance to fill the bucket back up. So don't call me if you have a fire. Alright, so now I think it's time for the kerosene heater. I think we can all pretty much agree that the same thing is going to happen that it did with the propane heater. But I have 2 buckets of water now, so I'm double prepared, so we should be in good shape. Let's go. That was so much bigger than I expected. Alright, so that's what happens whenever you dump gasoline on space heaters. Alright, damage report. After all of that, the electric heater works just fine. As you saw, I mean, I literally poured gasoline into it and it never lit on fire, never stopped working, it kept going the entire time. So that's great. The propane heater is like, I'm gonna try again, but I don't know if you can hear that. It sounds like there's like water in some place where there shouldn't be water. Like there's a water in a line or something that like maybe, I don't know, maybe it like will evaporate or something, but this is completely dead. The kerosene heater, actually I just had to kind of like let it sit for like 10 or 15 minutes and I guess the water, I don't know, like ran off of it or whatever, and then I had to take a blowtorch to kind of get the wick going again, but it lit back up and it's running right now and it's doing fine. So after all of these tests, I think it's pretty clear that if you want the safest heating option, you'd have to go with electric, because you're not going to start a fire. Even throwing literal gasoline into it, you're not going to start a fire. I guess if you want a fire, your best option would be the propane heater, because this did the most damage to every single material. It didn't cause a bigger fire with the gasoline than the kerosene heater, but everything else, it caused more damage. I think we've settled it. The safest space heater is going to be an electric one. If you guys want to check these out and you want to pick one up, there will be a link for that in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.